Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Anne Reardon, and today I have a really exciting video for you. Not only am I going to show you how to make this Christmas gingerbread house, but you also have a chance to win my mixer. Well, not my one, I've got a new one for you, of course. I've actually got 4 to give away, and I'll tell you later in this video how you can win those. And there's also 2 bonus videos for you this week. One is the Enchanted Gingerbread House, and one is the Dragon's Den. And you can watch both of those over on the Breville Food Thinkers channel, and I'll link to those at the end and in the description below. To make your gingerbread dough, preheat your oven to 170 degrees C or 340 F. And for your ingredients, you'll need brown sugar, golden syrup, or you can use treacle there instead, butter, spices, and your flour. For all of the ingredient quantities in grams and ounces and cups, head on over to the Breville Food Thinkers website, and I'll put a link to that recipe in the description below this one. Now we want to add all the ingredients except for our flour into the bowl of our electric mixer. Now I always get asked, what mixer do you have? Now I've actually got a Breville Scraper Mixer Pro, and I'll show you one of the things that I like best about this mixer in just 1 minute. Add our syrup. So one of the things I like best about this mixer is this scraper paddle. What it does is while it's mixing, it scrapes along the side of the bowl, so you don't have to stop and scrape it down. Set your mixer onto folding and keep it going for 2 minutes, and there's a handy little timer on the front that you can use there. And then we want to add our flour into the mix and mix it on low speed until it makes a nice dough. Now you don't want to put it on high speed, because if you do that, then it's going to add too much air to the dough and then it will rise in the oven. For this house, I'm using a silicone mould, and I'll link to where you can get that from in the description below as well. Take your dough and form it into a ball and then cut it into quarters. Take 3 of those quarters and cut them in half so that you've got 6 even pieces. Then take the remaining quarter, roll that into a ball and cut that into 4, and then add 1 of each of those to 4 of your other existing pieces. Use the 2 smaller bits of dough for the side walls, and then the other dough for the larger walls and the roof. Now you're going to need to press the dough down into the mould really firmly to make sure it gets right into those tiny window sections and all the cracks. Be quite rough with it, otherwise you'll get lots of air bubbles under the dough. Then to get the top flat, tap it with the flat part of your hand and make sure the edges are straight so that the house sits nicely together once it's baked. Then place them on trays and put them in the oven for 20 minutes. Halfway through baking, make sure you swap the trays from top to bottom so that they don't overcook. Once you take it out of the oven, let it cool for about 5 minutes and then flip it out onto a wire rack and let it cool completely before decorating them. It will seem quite soft when you first tip it out, but it will get firmer as it cools. Next, we want to melt some white compound chocolate. Select the melt chocolate function on the microwave, dial it up to the right weight, and then press start. And if you don't have a Breville microwave, then you can just put it in a normal microwave, 30 seconds stir, 20 seconds stir, then 10 seconds stir, and repeat that 10 seconds stir until it's melted. Tip some chocolate into the mould and then spread it out, making sure you get into those fine window lines, and then tap it on the bench to try and get rid of as many air bubbles as we can. Quickly add the gingerbread piece over the top and press it on gently. Wipe off any excess chocolate that's oozed out of the edges, because we still want it to have straight edges so we can join it together properly. Once that's set firmly, just peel off the mould and you're left with a beautiful looking wall. Repeat that with all the other walls as well, and then for the door, we're going to make that out of solid chocolate. So just fill it up to the top, tap it to get rid of any air bubbles, and let it set. Okay, now to make our royal icing, which is a bit like the glue that holds the whole house together, just tip your packet mix and the amount of water it tells you, which is 50 ml, into the bowl, and then add it to your mixer and mix it on low to start with so it doesn't go everywhere, and then we'll turn it up to high after that. If you want to make it from scratch, there is a recipe on the howtocookthat.net website, and I'll link you to that below. Place the icing into a piping bag that's fitted with a round shaped nozzle. Shake it down to the bottom of the bag and then twist the top to stop it all coming back out the top when you squeeze it. To assemble your house, lay your walls out flat like this on your board. Then pipe a line of icing along where the base of your walls are going to sit, remembering to leave a gap where your door is. Then pipe a line of icing on each of the side walls along the side of those, not too close to the edge because we don't want too much to spill out the front. Lift up 2 of your walls and join them together. Then add another wall, and finally the last one. Wriggle them around to make sure they're all straight and joining properly, and then leave them for a few minutes for those joints to firm up. To decorate the roof, we're going to cover it in a clamshell pattern. Start at one side at the top and then equally space semicircles going across that top edge. Then starting from the edge of the next row, pipe to the bottom of the previous semicircle, loop down and then back up to the bottom of the next one, down and up, and continue that all the way across. Repeat rows like that until you get to the bottom. Now before it has a chance to dry, place it into a container and pour hundreds and thousands all over it, and then tip it upside down to shake off the excess. Take your mini M&Ms and use some royal icing to attach them into the spaces. And you can just use random colours if you like, or you can put them in patterns in rows. Now before we put our roof on, if you want to put something inside, you need to do that now. That will do. Now take some icing and we want to put it down the supports on one side and across the top here and up the other side. Then take one side of your roof and place it on top like that. And while that's setting, you may need to put something in place just to support it so that it doesn't slide off. Then take your icing and we need to pipe up like we did before, and this time across the top of the roof, up the side and across the other one. Then grab your other roof and pop that into place. And just hold it for a minute until it's ready to hold itself. Roll out some red fondant really thinly and cut a strip about 1 centimetre wide. Then add that to the front of your house to cover those joins where the 2 gingerbread house pieces are coming together. Then cut some more fondant and use that to add just under the roof join to make it look neat. Pipe dots of icing along the top, down the front edges and along the sides of your roof. Then use some royal icing to put your door into place. And now it's time to make our wreaths. Roll out some green fondant into a snake. Now you don't want this to be too thick, make it thinner than you want your wreath to be, and then join it to make it a circle the size you want it. Now we want to roll some really, really thin snakes of green. If you have a fondant extruder, that will make this job much quicker, but you can just do it by hand. Take the thin snakes of green and layer them over your circle to make it look like a bushy wreath. You can make 2 of these, one for the front and one for the back of the house. To make your bow, roll out some red fondant thinly, trim it to make a long skinny rectangle, and then fold the 2 ends into the middle, and then bend them so that they're coming down like a ribbon would from a bow. Cut out a triangle from each end, and then roll a ball of red and add it to the middle. Use a little bit of water to dampen the back, lift it up and add it to your wreath. Then add some little silver decoration balls onto it. Now for the windows, we want to make it look like candy canes. So roll out a snake of white and then using a pizza cutter, cut 1 thick and 2 skinny strips of red and add them to your white. Then roll it out until it's the desired thickness that you want to go around your windows and twist it as you roll just to get that candy cane look. Then use a little bit of water to dampen the fondant on one side of it and add it around the top of your window and trim it to size. And repeat that on all of your windows. To make the wooden window sills, take some brown fondant and roll it out thickly, and then cut that into a strip. Use the tip of your knife to make a wooden pattern indent in the top of the fondant, and then take slices the width of your windows and put them into place. For those little bushes out the front, we're going to use mint leaves. Just cut off the base of them so that they'll stand up and make them different sizes so it looks more realistic. Now for our Christmas tree. Roll out a long snake of green fondant and then roll it flat into a strip. Use a pizza cutter to straighten it out and then wrap it around the base of the ice cream cone. And as you come to the first join, use your scissors to make little cuts in, and some can be deeper than others. You can just give it a bit of variation there, and you can space them unevenly as well. Continue to cut it and wrap it, overlapping each layer so that you can't see the cone. When you get near the top, add some green over the point to cover it, and then wrap the strip around to the top. Squeeze it at the top to make a point and to make it stick together. Then add some of your soft sugar pearls around just to decorate it. Just gently press them into the fondant. Cover your cake board in royal icing and then add your mint leaf bushes into place around the base of your house. Then sprinkle the whole thing with icing sugar to make it look like snow. I like to use a tea infuser for this because it's just the right size and it lets you shake a thin layer over it without getting it everywhere. Take some red and green Smarties in a bag, crush them up using your rolling pin, just hit them well. Define an area where you want your path to be and sprinkle on the broken Smarties. Add your tree into place and put a little bit of icing for snow on the top of that one too. So to win one of these Breville Scraper Mixer Pros and the digital scales from Breville, what you need to do is in the description below write down what country you're from and why you would like to win. It's as easy as that, and then we'll choose a winner from that. Now I have one of these to give away in the US, one in Canada, one in New Zealand, and one for Australia. Sorry to the rest of the world, I do love you, but that's just the countries that we can send these to. So put below the country you're from and why you would like to win. Subscribe to How to Cook That for more crazy sweet creations. Check out the other 2 Gingerbread House videos here. Click here to go to the How to Cook That channel and here for the How to Cook That website. Have a great week and I'll see you on Friday.